That's more like it. Hi everyone, it's me Gaming Do, and now we are officially doing my top 5 favorite episodes of The Loud House. Now, I did my least favorites or the worst episodes. Now it is finally time for the best episodes. And boy, the best episodes of The Loud House stand out so much more than the worst episodes. This is a fantastic show. Oh my god, there are so many great episodes of this show, and I finally get to share this list with you guys. I am so excited. This is probably the best show to come out this entire decade, in my opinion. It is so creative, so funny, so imaginative. It's like an old cartoon coming out in the 2010s. It is such a phenomenal show, and I finally get to share this with you guys. So without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 5, my 5th favorite Loud House episode is Garage Band. I'm telling you now, Luna may have been moved to number 7, and Lori may have been moved to number 6 just because of this episode. Now, why is Lori now probably right in the middle of the Loud siblings for me? This episode just shows that even though she's bossy and she needs her private time and stuff like that, not in that way, but even though she needs basically, you know what I mean. Nothing bad, but you know what I mean. She loves her sisters, and even living in the garage, she misses them all. That proves how much of a good sister she is. And this episode is just also entertaining how a 17-year-old is like scared of, I don't know, the dark and the great unknown, I guess. And there's just so many good things about this episode. It's funny, it's creative, it's got a lot going for it, and that's why Garage Band is my 5th favorite Loud House episode. Coming in at number 4 is One Flew Over the Loud House. Talk about creative times like a billion. This episode is a zombie parody, basically. Don't worry, guys. I'm done with my cold. I've obviously gotten over it by now. I just coughed once, so. And speaking of which, it's related to this episode. But One Flew Over the Loud House is an episode where all the sisters basically get sick, and there's like 5 remaining or something, and they all gotta go on this survival zombie story to avoid getting sick. And it's just so creative, it's not even funny. And this episode is partially the reason why Lenny Loud is my favorite Loud sibling. She's willing to risk it to make her siblings feel better. Now, is that sweet or not? This episode is great. It's entertaining, it's funny, it's just anything you could say that's good about this episode is good. Great. I love this episode. Coming in at my number 3 is 11 Louds a Leapin', the Christmas special. Guys, nobody, and I mean nobody on this planet, deserves to be alone on Christmas. And that's why this is the saddest episode of The Loud House by far. There's no contest. It's not cryably bad, but it's the saddest episode of The Loud House, but yet it's probably the happiest. This man is alone on Christmas and hasn't been with anybody basically for 5 years of just being alone. And the Louds just come in and help him out. It's just such an amazing moment. I mean, everything goes over to pretty much every one of the Loud siblings have had their things gone into Mr. Grouse's yard, and then he always takes them and says, "My yard, my property." And oh my God, the song. It's not what you give, it's what... Or, not, it's the exact opposite. It's not what you get, it's what you give. That song is the best song of the entire series, and holy fucking shit. If there were more songs on this series, I'd probably do a top 5 songs list for Loud House Month, but I don't think there's enough. And this would definitely make number 1 there. This is just such a great Christmas song. It could be placed with songs like Christmas is the Very Best Christmas to Me from SpongeBob. Again, Don't Be a Jerk from SpongeBob. Bunch of other iconic songs. Like, I don't know if it'd quite go up with songs like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Frosty the Snowman or something like that. But I gotta admit, this is a damn good Christmas song. It's not what you get, it's what you give from the Loud House. That is such a good song. Anyways, what else? Just prime examples. I'll give you all the characters' examples. Lana is trying to catch reindeers, basically. Lenny is trying to pick out Christmas outfits, basically. But she's using all sorts of Christmas material that's supposed to be used. Used for Christmas time, and Lori is snooping at presents all the time, and she kisses Clyde at the end of the episode, and Clyde fucking, probably almost jumps out of the freaking house after that. Oh my God, that's a funny moment. Yeah, kind of cute. Now, I kind of ship Lori and Clyde. Not too much, but I ship them, kind of. And I'm not weird like that. I don't agree with, the Lincoln and Lynn thing. I think that's absolutely disgusting, in my opinion. I don't agree with incest in the slightest. I think it's disgusting, personally, but I mean, to ship that's fine. They're not related, so that's fine. But this is just such a good episode. Oh my God. It's definitely my third favorite episode of The Loud House. Coming in at number 2 is Driving Miss Hazy. This is the other episode that made Lenny number 1 for me. She really shines in this episode and is a prime example of how she is throughout the rest of the series. Some of her funniest lines are in this episode. She is such... You may as well put her on freaking Comedy Idol or something, because forget Luann, Lenny's freaking hilarious in this episode. From the way she basically gets how to drive, with examples like the blinky blink and basically using shoes as pedals and her opinions to, go and stop. is just so creative. It's creative and it's hilarious. And the highlight of this episode for me is at the very, very, very end, where she goes, "Is this the carpool lane?" That is probably my favorite Lenny Loud line of the entire series. When I first saw this episode at the end, and I think this was the second episode of The Loud House I ever saw. Second episode ever that I saw. So, this episode was fantastic. And everyone else was good in this episode, but Lenny is definitely the highlight of this episode. And that's why Driving Miss Hazy is number 2. But number 1 is an episode I just saw extremely recently, and it blew my fucking mind how phenomenal this episode is. This episode seriously can rival episodes like Band Geeks, The Creeper from Batman the Animated Series, and you know Band Geeks is from SpongeBob. It can really rival something like Band Geeks, in my opinion. That's how fucking good this episode is. And I'd say Driving Miss Hazy probably could rival Band Geeks too. But this definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, can. My number 1 favorite Loud House episode is Cover Girls. Cover Girls is the exact opposite of the 1 minute the sisters are in Lincoln Loud Girl Guru, where they didn't have his back at all. In Cover Girls, it's the exact opposite. They have his back through and through and sticking up for him, basically. So what the episode is basically about is the Loud sisters gotta do their stuff during spring cleaning, so Lincoln tries to disguise himself as all of them and cover for them. But then when he can't really deal with it no more, he asks them to all come back and they all cover for each other and show that they love each other, basically, enough to cover for each other when they really want to do something. And this episode just shows that the Loud siblings really care for each other, and they're always there. Always. And the ending part of this episode is fucking hilarious, in my opinion. How the parents basically ground them by making them go in their disguises to the things they like, prime example, Lenny is dressed like Lana and isn't allowed in the mall, and Lana is dressed like Lenny and she's not allowed to play in the mud. Luann comes out as a bat. I think Lori is disguised as Lincoln going with Lily, who is disguised as Lori. And I know this is confusing, but this is a fucking awesome. I love the ending of this episode. It's maybe the top 10 best endings to a cartoon episode of all time is in this episode. It's just so fucking funny and entertaining. And the episode in general is phenomenal. Every character is there for each other and they're funny. It's just, I can't even describe it. This episode is one of the best cartoon episodes of all time. There, I said it. It's fucking phenomenal. And there's not a lot of episodes that I would say are that good, but this one was fucking great. And that's why Cover Girls is my favorite episode of The Loud House. So that's going to do it for today. Let me know in the comment section below what's your favorite episode of The Loud House. And a little bit of announcement. Video number 4 is going to be my version of the Loud House character themes. I think instead of doing ideas part 2, I'm going to do character themes, and I already made that video, but that will come out probably Friday, and I know I'm recording this on Tuesday, but this is coming out Wednesday morning. But yeah, that's it. Gaming Do here. See you later. Bye.